The newest season is here and it is absolutely insane. I'm going to cover everything you need to know about the new season. I'm going to talk about what loadouts the pros are running. I'm going to talk about drop spots coming into globals because we have Peterbot, Feroxy, and Tayson contesting each other. I'm going to talk about drop spots in general. What are the best drops? Where should you be going? And I'm also going to clear up some confusion around solo cash cups and why they're not in the compete tab. There's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. Before I talk about drop spots, maybe let's talk about the loot pool. Probably the best way to start. There is so much new in this new season. I actually genuinely am getting a bit overwhelmed on where to start. So let's maybe kick off nice and simple with assault rifles and shotguns. What are your choices? What should you be running? And what are all the pros using? So kick off with shotguns. We still have the Sentinel pump shotgun, super reliable, very strong. A lot of pros are still running this. Most pros are still using it as their main shotgun. Now, we also have the revolver pistol shotgun. This is surprisingly strong. It's actually really, really good. If pros aren't using the Sentinel pump, this is the shotgun they're using. It's really, really fast fire rate. It has absurd range on it. I actually think Fortnite might nerf the range on it. It can hit for like 50 damage from like 8 boxes away. Like, it is genuinely like a sniper. It has really fast pullout time. You can also use it as a double pump with the regular pump shotgun, so you can use a Sentinel pump, swap to the pistol, and pump again almost instantly. I don't think this is going to be too valuable, especially in trios, just because with the current state of the game, double pumping just isn't as strong as it used to be. People are too good now. They're too good at box fighting. There's no chance for people to stand in the open with their guns out and don't just build and block you off. So that goes for the exotic double pump as well. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But double pumping, while you can do it with this shotgun, isn't super viable, but the shotgun by itself is amazing. Now, the new sweeper shotgun, which is like the tac shotgun, is horrific. It is terrible. Even at mythic rarity, I've seen pros drop this for a gray Sentinel. Like, it's just not worth using. It has a really fast fire rate. If you pick one up off spawn and you have to make it work, just literally get as close as you can to the player and just keep shooting. Don't stop shooting. Don't even try and build. That is the best way to use this shotgun. But for the most part, you'll see almost every single pro using either the Sentinel or the new revolver shotgun. Both are very, very good choices. Now, for assault rifles, you have the new OXR assault rifle, you have the Fury assault rifle, you have the Hammer assault rifle, and you have the DMR. Now, the DMR is only going to be used for surge trading. I have no idea why Fortnite keeps adding DMRs. Casuals don't like them. They don't find them fun to use, and they almost never use them. Competitive players hate them. They're just forced to use them because they're good for surge trading. So please, Fortnite, just stop adding DMRs. But outside of that, the rest of the AR loot pool is very balanced. The Fury AR, same as before, has good fast fire rate. Not too many pros using it, though. Most pros are opting to use one of the new assault rifles or the Hammer assault rifle. Both are kind of interchangeable. Honestly, it does feel like it's just whatever your preference is, whether you like to spray more, whether you like to tap fire more. They are both very, very similar weapons. So honestly, I've seen no real differentiation in what the pros are using between these two guns. It's just pick up the highest rarity or go with the gun that you feel like you're beaming with. The shotgun and the AR loot pool right now, I'm happy to say, feels really balanced. It does just feel like it's personal preference. If you feel like you're frying with one over the other, then pick up that one. But it is usually between those two main choices though. Next up, the big one, mobility. This is always going to be one of the biggest factors when it comes to a competitive season. I'm happy to say I absolutely love this season's loot pool for mobility. Now, if you've been getting slammed by the Shockwave launcher or Shockwaves in pubs and ranked, it is not in competitive. I wouldn't mind Shockwaves maybe, but Shockwave launcher is just absurd. I hate it so much, except when I'm just trying to W key in pubs and ranked, so it's fine where it is. But in competitive, it is a very, very trio-centric, so very trio-focused and very balanced mobility pool. It is Crash Pad Juniors, the new throwable launch pad, and Fizzberry jars. That's it, and I think Fortnite absolutely cooked with this. Not only is it mobility that is good for an entire trio, none of it is absurdly broken, and it's all very, very high skill, high reward. If you use the crash pads or the launch pads properly, you can then, flank height, you can rotate around players, you can get to front side, but if you use it poorly, you're gonna die. You're gonna get absolutely beamed. I feel like we went from one of the least skillful, biggest bailout mobility items ever with the birds to one of the most skillful of all time. So I think Fortnite really did have trios in mind when they made this mobility meta, and I think they were focusing on globals. I don't know if I'm crazy for saying that. Globals is a massive tournament. I often say that Fortnite doesn't put a lot of thought into their loot pool around mobility for competitive, but the fact they've got really strong, like pub-oriented loot pool in pubs with the Shockwaves and the Shockwave launcher, but then competitive does feel like they were focused on globals. I do truly think the best, smart, most prepared teams are going to dominate with this loot pool. We only got to watch one EU Pro Scrim game because there's been a lot of bugs with hosting customs on tournament settings, but in the one one pro scrim we watched, we actually had Seti's team pull off an insane flank where they flew up on top of Phronoxy's team on high ground because they hit a Fizzberry launch pad. Now, if you've used the new launch pad, I don't need to tell you this, it sends you to the moon. Combine that with the Fizzberry and you can literally go to like rift height. So Phronoxy's team was caught completely off guard when they landed on them and took them out off high ground. So I know launch pads are pretty weak these days because players' aim and awareness is so good, but if you use this launchpad properly, especially with Fizzberry Jar, you can actually pull off some good plays with it. And in the early and mid game, you can go so high, you actually go out of retina distance, so you can't get beamed. So it should actually have some value. I think end game is going to be predominantly the Crash Pad Juniors, using those with a full trio, doing like short pad kind of rotations. Things like that are extremely good. And honestly, like I said, adding that with the Fizzberry Jar, which gives you shield and a nice little jump speed, and if you get a max pull zone in the open and you put yourself on a good side of zone with good cover, you should be able to just triple Fizzberry jump your way in and it won't be too bad. I absolutely love this loot pool. As for meds, I kind of touched on it there. We have the Fizzberry Jar, we have med kits, we have minis, we have big pots, and we have splashes back in the game. They have removed the chug jug, which I'm a fan of. No chug jug means less heal offs. Now the splashes are going to be quite strong, especially for the fact they drop from large ammo crates now, which makes them much easier to find. But again, I really do like the med pool this season. They do also have the med miss back, which are going to be a bit annoying for heal off, but with way worse mobility like this and then not having the legendary chugs, I don't think we're going to get a lot of heal offs in this season competitively, which I'm a big fan of. As far as weapons outside of this, we have SMGs, we have the Veiled Precision SMG and the Stinger SMG. Again, they're standard SMGs, you've used them. If you pick them up off spawn, you might beam with them. Maybe if you love hopping in boxes and spraying people, it's okay, but a lot of the shotguns are really strong right now, so I wouldn't advise that, but that's pretty much the loot pool. The next thing we have to talk about, though, are the big ones, Mythics and Exotics. Now, this has people a little bit confused. So firstly, we'll go through the Mythics. There are 3 different Mythics on the map right now, and you get them from taking down the bosses at the different POIs. If you go over to the Hive, you're going to get the Mythic Revolver Shotgun. So again, this is absolutely insane. It shoots so ridiculously fast. This is one of the better Mythics. If you go to Demon's Domain or the new Demon's Debris, you're going to get the Mythic OXR Assault Rifle, which is really, really solid. Again, it's one of the best assault rifles. And if you go Ranger's Ruin, you're going to get the Mythic Sweeper Shotgun, which kind of sucks. So far, Ranger's Ruin, don't really care about the Mythic, but Demons and the Hive both get a good Mythic, but they also have medallions, and this is what really separates the POIs. So at the Hive, you have the Slide Medallion, which is insane. You're just slide moving all over the place. You can constantly just slide boost and get across the map in seconds. And then at Demon's Debris, you have the Double Jump Medallion. And in my opinion, this is actually 2 of the best medallions. I know what you're thinking. I know you know the other medallion is. I'll get to that in a second. But both these medallions, separately, they are insane. Your movement is ridiculous. You feel like you're Superman flying through the air. Combine them, though, and you are literally Thanos. Like, this movement looks like someone's cheating. If you've fought a good player or you've used these and you know what you're doing, it literally looks like you're cheating. You can just fly through the air, turn, jump back, slide back down, jump up, fly. It is ridiculous. And I am very excited to see what it's going to look like when pro players get their hands on these in tournaments, especially solo cash cups. They will literally be moving through the lobby. We're going to see players as good as Peterbot, Pixie, Poyo just dropping 40 bombs with these Mythics. They are insane. We actually got to see a little moment where Muzz and Reet were fighting each other. Each had one of these medallions in solo ranked, and it was an absurd fight. I'll show you a clip from it so you can see just how ridiculous fighting 2 players with these items are.
I got the King Reed. What medallion does he have? I need that. That shit's insane.
So yeah, kind of ridiculous. We have 1 medallion left. This is the one that a lot of people thought was going to be insane. I was a little bit worried about. At Ranger's Ruin, you're getting a plus 50 white health on Siphon. So you're going to get 50 white health instantly and then 75 health over time, which is pretty good for clutching. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to think of a lot of situations where the plus 50 Siphon would have done that much compared to the 75 anyway, but we'll see. It could still be solid. You're not going to say no, but the other thing it does is it gives you shield over time. You're probably thinking, Aussie, every shield over time medallion has been absurd, especially with surge trading. And I agree, but it's really slow. It's almost 4 times as slow as the Demon's Domain medallion last season. So it's still good. You're not going to say no to it, even though Phronoxy was actually in my Twitch stream saying that he might even leave it behind. For the most part, it's decent, but I actually think it might be one of the weakest medallions, and that is currently where Peterbot's dropping. I'll talk about drop situations in a second, but Phronoxy was in my chat saying that he's not dropping on it because he wants the medallion. He wants all of the loot at the POI. He might even leave the medallion behind so he can go for lurk plays on enemies. I don't know whether he'll actually do this, but Phronoxy was talking about coming into the season, he wants to go the best POI that doesn't have a medallion because being marked on the map messes up his lurk plays that he's been so well known for, and he dominated and won grand finals on EU wins. So for the most part, I do actually think the best POI right now as far as medallion and weapon combo is actually Demon's Debris, which is what Poyo, Acorn, and Aegis currently have uncontested. You get a phenomenal assault rifle for surge trading, and you have the medallion that in the hands of Poyo will be insane for solo clutching and working through endgame. But it is worth pointing out, any movement medallion is naturally going to be a lot weaker in trios because anything you do, your teammates can't follow. So it does limit its strength a lot. In solos, it's going to be absurd, but the double jump medallion and the slide medallion shouldn't be the biggest factors in trios. But remember how insane it was even with the island medallion last season when you had players like Peterbot or Poyo had an endgame and they're jumping in front of people, finding angles, jumping around fights, repositioning. The double jump medallion from Demons allows you to do that throughout the whole game, and it's even stronger. So I do actually think that edges it out a little bit, but right now there are other factors that come into deciding what is the best POI, which again I'll talk about in a second. The last thing I want to talk about is the exotics. Now you get these from the bunkers around the map. You have to get A rank, which you get from killing aliens and players. Another reason why the mythic POIs are so strong, because you get A rank quicker. And then you have 4 different exotics you can get in competitive. I'm going to rank them in my opinion of strongest to weakest. So first up, the double pump. I know you're thinking, Aussie, you said the double pumping isn't that strong. It isn't. But what is strong is getting 2 gold spazzes that both do 200 damage. That's essentially what they are. So if one trio gets these, let's say it's Poyo's team, Poyo and Aegis are both going to get 200 pump spazzes because you don't have to hold both of them. You can hold one each. That is ridiculous. Now, there is no way to guarantee which exotics you get. It is just random. For the second one, I think the second best is the Fizzberry jar. And it's not that insane when you think about it on face value. It's just a Fizzberry jar with 300 instead of 200. The main difference is it also heals for white health. So it can heal your health as well as shield, unlike a regular Fizzberry jar. It also gives you the slap effect for infinite sprint, which isn't that strong. But when you think that your team can now tank 900 white health, 900 by using the whole Fizzberry jar to heal you in Storm, that is going to be ridiculous. Next up is the revolver pump shotgun. It is super strong. It shoots insanely fast. Again, I love the revolver pump shotgun this season. So a faster firing, more insane version of it is definitely going to be a pickup as well. And last up is the OXR assault rifle. Now, the gimmick with this one is the more damage you do, the more bullets you shoot in the clip, the more damage it does until you reload, which does end up hitting for 97 headshots, which is kind of ridiculous, especially for surge trading. So I don't know if the OXR is technically the worst of the 4, but at the moment, there's 4 insane exotics. You're not going to be upset if you get any of them. So trying to lock down these bunkers and get to them early is going to be insane because they don't cost you anything. If you're the first one in there, you get whatever exotic is in there for free every game. That is going to be insane for competitive. All right, let's talk about global drop spots, talk about which are the best drops and who's contesting who. Now, firstly, I need to mention there was a big change that came out today that might have you confused. There was forecasting competitive. That was a bug. It has now been removed. So there is no forecast on the map for competitive. Don't even worry about that. What is being added though is the hot drop mechanic. If you remember back in the day, there'll be a POI that's named yellow on the map. It can rotate through a few different POIs and it gives it a huge boost to its loot because you have these loot drones that are flying around. It got even stronger. If you break one of these drones now, you get 2 Fizzberry jars and 3 medkits per drone. So you're going to have mythic level loot at non-mythic POIs, which could influence teams' changes around the map. Now, it is worth mentioning the new season has only been out for like a day, so this is probably going to change a lot. But as of right now, this is the 33 teams from Globals who have actually picked where they're dropping. It will change massively, but let's talk about at least 4 now. So firstly, we've got a few points to talk about. We have triple contested. Chino, Chris, and Ritual. Now, they are all dropping again over at Ranger's Ruin. I know I talked about how Ranger's Ruin isn't that strong. It's not that it's not that strong. It's still a phenomenal drop spot. Like Pablo and Phronoxy told me in my chat, it has an insane amount of loot, even if the medallion isn't good, but it is going to be Phronoxy, Tayson, and Peterbot going at it. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I feel like Peterbot's team is honestly going to leave here and want to go lock down one of the movement medallions because we know how much Pete loves the extra movement for W King, but maybe Pete is recognizing that, especially in globals, you're going to have to surge trade, and having a ridiculous amount of loot in the middle of the map is going to be more valuable than an insane movement medallion. So I don't know whether this fight is going to stay, but I'm excited to see it. If we get Pete versus Tayson versus Fred at LAN, it's going to be insane. Obviously, none of them are going to win. There is just no way a team that's triple conned is going to win globals, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Pete pulls something off like last globals where he gets like half the POI and the other two teams don't cross into it and fight for it, which, if you know anything about Tayson and Phronoxy, you know that's probably not happening. But hey, I guess we'll have to see. We have triple contested Canyon. Venno, Mr. Savage, and Striker, which is our Brazilian FNCS winners. Now, I don't know if this is because Forecast was at Canyon. Venno has specifically said that he is dropping here whether Forecast is in or not. He said this before Forecast was removed when people thought it might be. We've also had Rezon say that he's not leaving. I don't speak Portuguese, so I don't know what Strikers say, but he's probably saying he's not leaving either, so having those guys fight it out will be kind of interesting as well. We have Seti, who's contested by Gabzera over at one of the new splits next to new boxcars, which is going to be our Brazilian team, Gabzera. We have Vanya versus Clix, and they're now dropping at the OXR drop, which is the new Brutal boxcars. Vanya and Clix, you know, they're both phenomenal teams. Clix went on stream to say, look, I didn't do too well in last grands. I know we messed up, but honestly, at this point coming to globals, I just want to go one of the best drops. He's like, look, I'm not going to try and get a really crappy drop uncontested. I'm going to go a drop that I think I can win with. And if I get conned, we're both going to do poorly. And it is what it is. And honestly, I kind of respect the way Clix addressed it. It wasn't like a content farm. He wasn't trying to aura farm. He literally just said like, look, I want to go a drop that I think I can win globals from. And if we're conned, we'll fight and we'll both do poorly. And that's just how it is. And I was like, damn, I kind of respect the honesty. It was interesting to see. So I guess we'll see how that spawn fight goes. We have Reet taking on Mixon over at the first order base. We have Raito, I believe, and Victor V going at it at Utopia. We have Barker versus Tinker over at Kappa Kappa. And then that's everyone who's contested. Everyone else is uncontested. Right now, the two biggest teams that I have eyes on to be doing really well if we were going into globals tomorrow is going to be Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache. Again, they're dropping at the Hive. They have the Slide Medallion and the Mythic Revolver Shotgun, which looks extremely solid, and they have a whole bunch of loot. They're a little bit towards the edge of the map, but not by much at all. They're looking very, very good. And then we have Aegis, Acorn, and Poyo, who have locked down Demon's Debris and getting what is, in my opinion, like I said, the best medallion and assault rifle. So both those teams looking absolutely phenomenal from their positions right now. I would be surprised if someone doesn't try and contest them just because of how good their loot is right now when so many other POIs are conned, but maybe they hold on to it. I don't know. We then have Pix, Dharma, Damus going the fields, which looks good. We have Ping, Wox, and Malabuka going outpost. There was going to be a forecast at outpost. I think that's why they tried to mark it on the map, but now there's not. I don't know if they'll move. Malabuka's off-spawn rep right now is not super solid, so we'll have to see how that plays out. We have Resigns, our OCE team, going on the south of the Outlaw split, which I think is very fair for their reputation. They're a fantastic team. They're coming out of OCE, coming in hot with a point record, but they are an OCE team. They're not going to be able to alpha up the best drop on the map, so I like that choice from them. We have Arc, our NA West boys, dropping north of them on Shiny Shafts. Vortex, another OCE team on the Whiffy Wharf split, so right now Arc is sandwiched between two OCE teams. We have Muzz, Shadow, and Sphinx uncontested resistance base where they just quelled from. We have Rise, Yuma, and Coyote to their east. There was also a forecast spawn here as well, so I don't know whether they're going to move now that forecast has been removed. We have Phaser's team going to be going Supernova Academy, Snowy to their north. We have Adapter's team on the Demon's Dojo split. We have Eyedrop sticking to the bridge. We then have Visuals going Foxy Floodgates, which is very interesting to see from them. I'm super excited to see if they hold that down uncontested. Then we have FKS's team on the mountain, and then we have Merrim's team at Shogun, and I think that is the entire drop map. Oh yeah, and Kanada's team right now going middle map, looking like they're very, very happy with the situation right now because they can third party to their east and west if they want to. So Kanada has ended up with a very solid drop spot potentially. That mountain is going to be amazing for surge trading. Now, that is going to be a big topic coming into globals. If you guys are wondering, what has Fortnite done about surge trading? Nothing. If anything, surge trading is going to be even worse because now with the mobility, it's going to be even harder to push players. If you knock a player in a surge tower and you want to push them, you're going to have to crash pad or launch pad at them, and we know how that's going to go. You're literally turning yourself into a Kovacs course in a lobby of the best players in the world. So Don't think we're going to see a huge change there. I think the globals are still going to be extremely exciting. The caliber of the players is still going to be amazing. We have some really big, high-profile spawn fights that'll be really fun to watch. But as far as that question, nothing's changed. I think Fortnite's probably going to wait until after globals to make some major changes to Storm Surge if they want to try and fix it. Now, speaking of after globals, a lot of people are very confused. I already made a video talking about the new tournaments, but it seems like there is a lot of confusion around solos. We haven't got confirmation of this from Epic, but my theory is we don't have any solos in the compete tab or Fortnite tracker right now because they're waiting until after globals. They've said they're doing that for duos, but the reason why I think that's the case for solos is because, like I said in yesterday's video, they said we're getting weekly solo tournaments for 6 weeks, but the season's longer than 6 weeks. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think the plan is they're waiting until globals is over, and then for the last 6 weeks of the season, we are getting weekly solo cash cups, which also explain why it's the only major tournament that's currently not in the compete tab. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, but for any of you guys confused, that is my guess, but I might be wrong. They might be surprised announcing it in the next few days, and oh my god, we have solo tournaments, but there is a lot going on between now and globals. I don't think there is any time. Shout out Fortnite Comp Report. This is the calendar he put together of the tournaments we have this month leading into globals. It's kind of stacked. There's really no room for them to fit solo cups even if they wanted to, because in my video, I didn't even talk about the 10 duo console victory cups they're running and the PlayStation Cup. There are so many tournaments going on.